Hey guys, it's Pinkstar and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going through my June and July wrap up. So this is all the books I read in June and July. Decided to combine them together because it's been a while and it's like nearly the end of August and I need to get this done. So we're going to do June and July together and then maybe I'll be back on schedule for doing my August wrap ups. I do have a new job, so I've been a little bit more busy and I don't have Wednesdays off anymore, so I have less time for filming, but I still want to do these videos as much as possible because I do really enjoy this. And yeah, I want to show you guys what I'm reading. Alright, so starting off in June, I read Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. This was an ARC book and I really enjoyed this. This was the first Ali Hazelwood book that I ever read. Makes me want to read some of the other ones because I did really enjoy this. The main character was great. I love that she was all into science and she was just like a fun, cute character. I liked the main love interest, Jack. I thought he was great. He was so caring and protective of Elsie and... is it Elsie? Elsie or Elise? Elsie, I think. Oh gosh, I can't remember. Either way, she gets called both in the book. One of them's right, one of them's wrong. But there's lots of like sciencey puns. It's just a fun time. So easy to read. I really enjoyed this and I gave this a 4-star rating, so yeah. Alright, the second book that I read, I did a bit of audiobook and a little bit of reading on my Kindle, was another ARC, and that was Song of Silver Flame Like Night. The cover of this is stunning and I was really excited to read this. I was thinking it's going to be quite a really easy, fun Chinese mythology read. It's YA, but it was actually quite difficult to read. There is a lot of like Chinese names that were quite hard to pronounce. I didn't really like the main character. I felt like she was a bit whiny and annoying. The main guy I really liked, but then I felt like he switched a little bit towards the end, and overall nothing really happened in the story. I thought it was going to be a standalone, but it's actually a series or a duology, I can't remember which. But yeah, nothing really happened until like the last 20% of the 10% of the book, and then it started getting really interesting, but then it just ended. So I did give this a 3-star. It took me a while to come up with a rating for this one. I couldn't decide if I liked it or not. Definitely wasn't as good as I would have liked it to have been. I felt like, yeah, the writing style wasn't that easy to read, and yeah, I didn't really like the main character. The world itself I really enjoyed, though it did get a little bit wishy-washy when they started portaling places, but I liked, you know, the history and things of this world just seem really interesting. So I don't know, I can't decide if I'm going to read the next one or not, but we'll see. Maybe I will, maybe I'll just read it via, like, just get an audiobook out. It's definitely not one that I am wanting to add to my collection. But yeah, it was just in the middle, 3 out of 5. I did really well for ARC books in June because I also read Dragonfall, which was another ARC by L.R. Lamb, I think. Yeah, so this is a dragon story, and unfortunately it just didn't feel very dragon-y for most of the book, because the main character, who is a dragon, is kind of like in a human form pretty much for the majority of the story, and the concept of the story I really enjoyed. I liked the plot quite a bit. I thought that was really good. So it's mostly like a heist story and it follows 3 different characters and how they like intertie together, which I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But I really did not like the writing style. I did give this a 3 out of 5 stars. Thinking back, it's probably almost a 2.5. But yeah, I think just because I did enjoy the actual story itself, I gave it a 3. but I hated the writing style because the author does this weird thing where each character is written, like each point of view is written in a different perspective. So one is like first person, one is second person, another one is third person, and it's just annoying. It bothered me so much. It took me so long to get into this because I couldn't get my head around the way it was written. It was so strange. And like the main dragon character says everything is you. So it's like he's talking to you as a reader, but he's meaning the other character in the story. Kind of reminded me of You, the TV program, where he's like you all the time and he's like, hello you, and it's like kind of creepy. I don't know, just gave me weird vibes. Yeah, so it just didn't feel very dragony, and I didn't like the writing style, and also some of the names were very similar to one of my favorite series, the Blood of Ith series. So they use a couple of characters that are main characters. They have very similar names, but instead of being like, so they have Soren, and Soren is one of the characters who's a girl in this book, but in the Blood of Ith series it's a guy. And then the main character in the Blood of Ith is Everin, and in this one Everin is the dragon. They're spelled slightly different but very close, and it just felt a little bit weird. I don't know if it was a coincidence or whether they've read that and they just really liked the names. But yeah, I don't mind that much about that, but yeah, the writing style really bugged me, so I couldn't give it anything more than a 3. Lastly, in June, I read Nettle and Bone by T. Kim Fisher. I've heard so many good things about this that I had to read it, and I really enjoyed this story. It's definitely got that fantasy feel, like fairy tale fantasy, but like in a dark kind of semi-horror-ish side as well. I can't remember what it reminded me of, like almost Sleeping Beauty-esque, but yeah, with like dark themes. I really liked Bone Dog. Bone Dog was great. I liked the main character. I just really enjoyed the story, like just everything that the main character went through for her family, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It wasn't your typical fairy tale story, but it had all of the fairy tale aspects with the fairy godmother and things like that. Yeah, I just really enjoyed the story. It wasn't typical, and yeah, it was great. I gave this 4.5 stars. I wish it was longer, to be honest. I feel like they could have fleshed out a lot more, which would have boosted it up to a 5. But I just felt like I was missing a little bit of like background and world building that I would have really enjoyed. But overall, the story was great, and I would highly recommend it. Alright, so that was all the books that I read in June. Now moving on to July, I read In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. This one kind of reminds me of like a cross between something like WALL-E and Pinocchio. It was a really interesting story. I did enjoy it. I like the robot characters more than the main character. Yeah, it was really good. I like how each of the robots had their own personality that definitely shines through. I gave this a 3.5 star. It wasn't anything super amazing. It also kind of had like almost a Wizard of Ozzy sort of feel as well. It just felt like it wrapped up really quickly, but I did enjoy it. I like the whole family, like found family sort of aspect. Yeah, and like the lengths that you go to protect the ones you love, and it was just, yeah, it was cute. As I said, I did really enjoy the robot characters the most, especially the little vacuum. He had the funniest personality. I loved him, and well, I can't remember what his name was, but and then the nurse character as well, Nurse Ratched, who's like a, what do you call it, like a doctoring machine sort of thing that I don't even know what sort of machine it would be, but she like drills and has like a screen that shows your vitals and can perform surgeries and things. And just I love her personality as well, because she's kind of sadistic, but she's supposed to be like such a helpful machine where she's like, here, have a lollipop, even though she doesn't have any. But at the same time, she just wants to like kill things. She's kind of got this like sadistic personality. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It was great. It was a sweet story. Yeah, I gave it 3.5 stars. I just feel like, yeah, it wrapped up a little bit too quickly, and I just feel like there could have been a few things that could have been done differently that would have brought it up a bit. But yeah, it was cute. Nothing super amazing, but I did enjoy it, so 3.5. Alright, next I finished Well of Ascension. I did start this in June. I only ended up finishing it in July. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Not as much as the first one. I was thinking this one was going to be better than the first one. But yeah, definitely had middle book syndrome, where nothing much really happened for a while and it was a lot more political, but I did still really enjoy this, especially with the ending and finding out what happened. And yeah, I need to know the next book what is going to happen, because things kind of hit the fan a little bit. Yeah, kind of everything changed at the end of this, and I'm not sure what the next book is even going to be about. But yeah, I did really enjoy this book. I love all the characters. I love that it's not predictable in the way that you're not really sure who's going to live and survive, who are the bad guys, who are the good guys. Has a lot of grey areas, which I really enjoy, and I did like the political side of things, but as I said, it just was a bit slower than the first one and definitely felt like the middle book syndrome. So I did give this a 4.5 stars instead of a 5, but I did really enjoy this book. There are some really good quotes in this one, like this one here: "Good men don't need to become legends. She opened her eyes looking up at them. They just need to do what's right anyway." And yeah, I just really like that quote. There's a few that are really good in this book, so yeah, do really love this series so far, and I'm excited to read the next one, hopefully next month. Alright, next I read Alone With You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. I think I've given up on Olivia Blake at this point. The Atlas 6 I enjoyed, I gave it a 4. The Atlas Paradox I gave a 3. It just went downhill and got a bit convoluted. And this one I thought I was really going to enjoy it. I thought it was just going to be this really nice romance story. But yeah, I just didn't really like it that much. I gave this a 2.5 star rating. Yeah, I don't know. It's just nothing really happened, and the two main characters were a bit strange. Like, I liked the concept of it, and I did like their relationship, but it was just written really odd. And they were just odd people to start with. I think they're just weird people that got together. Yeah, and just didn't really seem to go anywhere. Like, I couldn't decide if they were actually in love with each other or not. I don't know what it was, and then they just keep going on about bees. Maybe it's me, maybe I just don't understand it, but I just couldn't get my head around this story. I tried to like it, and it just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. Honestly, I don't even know how to explain this book. I gave it a 2.5 stars. I wanted to really enjoy it, but it just wasn't what I expected it to be. It wasn't really that much of a lovey story. Like, it wasn't really like a happy happy, loving story. Like, both of these characters were super flawed. Yeah, had major issues. Like, she was, like, Regan was super, like, needy, but then she just used people. And then he was just very quiet, and like Aldo was quiet and reserved, but then just very odd in his own way, and just like they went together really well, but at the same time it was just probably not, like they were probably not suited to each other, but then they were at the same time. Like they were drawn together because of their like similarities, but then also their differences. And it was also very weird that they used a lot of bee references and symbolism, and I think it just went over my head a little bit. I don't know. If you enjoyed this book, let me know and why you loved it, because I gave this a 2.5 stars, and I've seen there's a lot of 5-star reviews about this, but I just didn't get it. It wasn't for me. Yeah. I wanted to really like it. There was some really nice, like some of the prose was really nice at times. And I was semi-invested to try and work out if they were going to be together or not, but it just wasn't doing it for me. I actually nearly DNF'd this at the beginning because of the way it was written, and it kept going into this weird thing where they would do like a scene and then they would tell you what the scene was. So they would tell you instead of showing you. It was, I don't know, it was strange. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling about this, but yeah, do let me know if you enjoyed this, because I have no idea why people love this book. But yeah, I think I'm done with Oliver Blake's writing at this point. Alright, and lastly, I read Godkiller. Finally, I read Godkiller. I know. I've been wanting to read this probably since like March. I keep putting it off and putting it off, but I finally read it. And unfortunately it wasn't the 5-star that I wanted either. This was only a 3 out of 5. Yeah, unfortunately was a bit disappointing. I did like the main character. It felt very like Witcher, but from a female perspective. Oh my goodness, can I talk today? Perspective. Yeah, so she was she's a female, but she is like this badass god killer, very much like reminded me of Geralt from The Witcher. And then she has like this younger girl that she is looking after, so it is very, very Witcher-esque in that point. I didn't realize that this was a series and not a standalone, so that may have been one of the issues, as I kind of got like near the end and was like, well, nothing's really happened. And then there's like quickly there is like a battle, and then it kind of like ends and you don't know what's going to happen. And then there's like obviously an epilogue thing which points to there being another book. So yeah, so I'm presuming there's definitely going to be another book. If not, it just kind of ended. Nothing really that exciting happened, but I did really enjoy the story. I liked the character's backstory and how she's tied to the gods, and I also liked the male character's perspective as well, because he's completely opposite almost to Kissin, who's the main female character, and yeah, I felt bad for him in the way that he was always used by someone that he really cared about. But yeah, it just wasn't what I expected it to be. Like, I don't know why. I thought I was going to get a lot more like world building, and it just felt like I was just coming into it in the middle of a story. Like, I would have liked to have seen the big battle that had happened that everyone refers to all the time. We don't get any of that, so you just kind of gotta use your imagination. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted it to be more than it was, and I think that's why my rating was a bit lower. So I only gave this a 3-star, because I was hoping it was going to be a 5 and it wasn't. So alright, so that is it for all the books that I read in June and July. If you did like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and as I said, let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these books and you did enjoy them or you didn't enjoy them, or what your feelings were, if you agree with me or not. I'd love to know. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I will catch you all in my next one. Bye.